another Fox Sports Gymnastics Challenge. I'm Anne-Marie Kerr. Today's competition comes to you from the Clipsal Powerhouse in Adelaide, and what a competition it is. The Australian men's and women's teams going head-to-head with one of the real world powerhouses in gymnastics, the mighty USA. It's also an historic night for the Australian gymnastics team. For the first time ever, we'll have an Olympic champion wearing the green and gold. Yes, you did hear me correctly. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but first, Liz Chekovich joins me in commentary today. Liz, a team and individual competition. Explain the format for us.
Yes, in the teams competition we have 4 from each country, 3 scores to count, and that will make the team total. And the all-around, of course, the normal format, the best overall score from the apparatus.
Well, great talent on show tonight. Let's take a look at the lineups, and we begin with the women. The Australian team is really a blend of youth and experience. We've got the young up-and-coming stars, Trudy McIntosh and Brooke Walker, and then the established members of this senior team, Rebecca Wilson and Lisa Skinner. But they're really going to have their work cut out for them. This is a formidable USA team. Krista Maloney, Lindsay Wing, Jamie Dansher, and the US #1 and the hot favourite for the all-around title, Vanessa Atler.
At just 15 years of age, Vanessa Atler is considered the hottest property in US gymnastics. The 1996 junior national champion, Atler won the 97 senior crown earlier this year, becoming one of an elite few to ever pull off the double in consecutive years. She was too young to contest this year's World Championships, but remember the name when the Sydney Olympics roll around in the year 2000.
Now, the USA are, of course, the current Olympic champions. Liz, unfortunately, no members of that team here today, but really these are the gymnasts they're looking towards 2000.
Yes, certainly. They dropped to a disastrous 6th place in this year's World Championships, and now they've regrouped. They're sending their top 4 girls, which shows how serious they are about coming back into the ranks for Sydney.
Yes, well, it certainly is a very talented team. Let's take a look at the men's lineups now. And that name on the top of your screen, Rustam Sharapov, the 1992 and 96 Olympic gold medalist, competing in the Australian colours for the first time. He's joined by Philippe Rizzo, Adrian Looney and Justin Ning. For the USA, Mike Dutka leads the way. He was a member of their World Championship team. Jamie Natalie, Jim Foodie and Freddie Umali. But of course, all eyes will be on Rustam Sharapov.
The name Rustam Sharapov is synonymous with Olympic success, winning his first gold as a member of the unified team in 1992. 4 years later, representing his native Ukraine, he won his first individual Olympic gold with a spectacular victory on his pet event, the parallel bars. He also added to his tally with bronze in the team competition. 1996 was definitely a good year for the 26-year-old, also crowned world and European champion on the parallel bars. He's now a resident of Canberra, Australia, and a welcome addition to any Australian team.
Yes, well, there can be no doubting his credentials. There's a very exciting day for Australian gymnastics, and hopefully the first of many between now and Sydney 2000.
Yes, of course, this is a very important competition, but the most important will be the 1999 World Championships, when he tries to help the Australian men's team qualify a full team for Sydney.
Yes, well, he's an enormous boost to this Australian men's team. Let's find out tonight if he can lead them to the gold medal.
And our first competitor tonight is Justin Ning, representing Australia, the Australian men's team beginning on the floor exercise. Justin, just 16 years of age, a newcomer to international competition.
Yes, Justin was a member of our Junior Pacific Alliance team just a couple of months ago, where they came 3rd overall. And the US men actually came 2nd at that competition, so it'll be interesting to see if we can reverse the trend this evening. A touch of the foot there, and not right, really completing those flares. Nice planche. Handspring layout front, under rotated, steps to the side and puts his foot just out of the floor area. Double twister finish, not a particularly strong tumble, pikes down, and the judges will be quite severe on that with him. The floor routine in general perhaps perhaps lacking some difficulty. The start scores won't be very high. Let's have a look at this planche. Nice open hip position. Simple connection. Here's that handspring. You can see his arms a bit bent in the handstand, lacking the rotation off to one side.
And a score for Justin Ning, 7.640. Little nervous start as we turn our attention to the vault now, and Freddie Umali of the USA.
And a full twist, Sukahara full twist for Umali. He was our Junior Pacific Alliance champion all around. Strong up-and-coming youngster. We are nice entry. Reasonable length, but a deep squat on the landing, forcing him off to one side. As you can see, there's his landing quite low. Luckily doesn't fall.
And that's a good start for the Americans, an 8.9 for Umali on the vault. Back to the floor, and Adrian Looney, the current junior national champion in the 16 to 18 year age group. And really 1997 has been a big year for Adrian, really has come on a long way over the past 12 months.
Opening very smoothly with that combination. Straight back into his second line, lay out front, lay out full, stumbles on that. Here he's going into a wide arm press to handstand. Controlling it very nicely. One and a half twist forwards. The men are using a lot of the twisting elements. They can get a lot of bonus points for those. And finishing with a double tuck. Now that's a pretty clean floor routine from Looney. Makes great improvements in the last year since we've seen him at last year's Canberra Cup.
Yes, he certainly should be pleased with that start as we take a look at some of his tumbling runs in replay.
That's a whip, one and a half twist front salto. A little bit long in the salto, but generally nice and smooth coordination through that line. And there's the double salto, knees tight together, pretty good landing.
And an 8.4 to open this competition for Adrian Looney of Australia. Mike Dupka now on the vault. One of the most experienced members of this USA team. Competed in their World Championship team just a couple of months ago where they finished 5th. A great result over in Lausanne.
And a beautiful attempt there at a double front. Starting very high. Ran out of a little bit of steam, but that's one of the most difficult vaults that the men are performing today. It's becoming more and more popular. Here we are. Perhaps tucks his knees too early on the horse, and as a result, lacking in rotation at the end. He really needed to take his heels a little bit further over at the beginning, get a better start position.
It certainly is a very spectacular looking vault, and penalised for the landing, but not too much, a 9.150. And after the first rotation, the USA leads Australia by 4 points almost, 27.05 to the Aussies 23.44. This is our first look at the women's competition. Brooke Walker opens for Australia on the vault, the 1997 junior national champion.
Very nice vault. That's a clean handspring front in a pike position. Nothing much wrong with that vault.
Brooke really is a great talent.
Here you can see the nice extension of the horse. She delays the pike. Really the only thing that we can pick on is the slight tuck of the knees in the second half of the salto. But overall a nice vault. Of course the women perform 2 vaults, the average of the 2 scores being their final score. The second vault a little bit lower than the first, perhaps not quite as nice a contact position with the horse. A little bit forwards on the horse, and as a result doesn't get the same push and as a result she suffers a bit on the landing. A little bit lower than the first one and a step backwards.
Well, still a strong start for the Australian team. 8.9 for Brooke Walker. Now Jamie Natalie, the USA moved to the parallel bars. It's our first look at Jamie. 18 years of age, trains at the Ohio State University.
The American men have got some strong juniors coming up, and they're going to be pushing pretty hard to stay in that top 6 position. A nice Diamidov. Diamidov to 1 bar. Stutz. Nice back toss, all these combinations working well. Finishing with a double pike, 1 step on the landing. That's really pretty a solid parallel bar routine for him.
Yes, he looked very confident right the way through. An 8.4 for Natalie of the United States.
Half pirouette. And there's that nice Diamidov. A little bit of a shuffle of the hands. The judges will penalise him for that. And Diamidov to 1 bar. Quarter pirouette out. Back toss to handstand. And straight into his double pike dismount. A little bit bent legs. Closes the pike deeply and manages to stay on his feet.
Well, the Americans looking pretty impressive in the men's competition. Let's see what their women can do. And this is Vanessa Atler, the current national champion.
Atler's a very confident worker. Small wobble on that mount. Main series here, flip, flip, layout. Nice straight body. Just minor deductions on her landings. Very reminiscent of Kim Zemeskel. She looks quite like her. Of course, Kim Zemeskel was the world champion in 1991. Very similar type of gymnast. Front salto. Misses the connection there. Connection being worth 1/10. There's a nice little connection. It's always nice to see something a little bit different, interesting, catches the eye. Change leg leap, straight into gainer layout salto. And once again, picking up valuable bonus connection points. Oh, and that dismount coming from a round off, just 1 step into it. That shows how powerful she is.
Well, very impressive, Vanessa Atler. These American girls have great choreography on the beam. Always work at great speed.
Here's that series. 2 flicks, layout salto. She twists a bit in the air, but she saves it well. And that's the numbers. Here we are, 1 step. Almost a standing round off and a beautiful high double salto.
Well, that's why she is the USA national champion. A 9.050 to open for Atler. Back to the parallel bars and Freddie Umali. Strong start on the vault. What can he do here?
Side mount there. Those mounts are very popular. Diamidov on the end of the bar. Little shuffles of the hands, all of those are small deductions. Legs apart a bit. She's just losing a little bit of control as he finishes all of these elements, just all these minor adjustments. But he's really holding it together. Many gymnasts have just let that go. Double tuck. So he's managed to push himself through that routine without a major error.
Yeah, but still not the standard we're used to seeing from Umali. He is the national champion on this event. He was also 3rd at the Junior Pacific Alliance on the parallel bars. So normally perhaps a little cleaner routine from him.
There's his double salto. Starts with his legs apart. Well, of course, that's a deduction as well.
And a score of 8.250.
Now on vault for
back to the vault. And the youngest member in this competition, Trudy McIntosh, just 13 years of age. She's a tiny little thing, just 137 centimetres, but a real dynamo.
Oh, and look what she's done there. She's had a false run. Now
Perhaps a little inexperience coming through there.
Yes, and she's been waiting around a while since she warmed up on vault. And sometimes when you're younger, it's a bit hard. So she does have another attempt. If she balks again, she'll score a 0.
So no deduction for that?
Not for that particular one. So she's got one chance. And it can be quite disconcerting because now she's under a little bit of pressure to put it together. Right. Oh, and look at that fantastic vault. That is a handspring layout front, 9.9 start score. Very, very difficult vault to stay straight all the way through. Beautiful extension and an extremely difficult vault to perform, especially for such a small person. So she drives her heels over, pulls the shoulders around in the rotation. That's an excellent vault.
Well, under pressure, Trudy McIntosh, but she's a real fighter in competition. She loves to compete. And she's done a great job with her opening vault, just waiting now for her second attempt.
And a second one the same, a couple of stumbles backwards, not quite as good as the first, but that start score will help her enormously.
Her coach there, Mark Carlton, of the Victorian Institute of Sport, produces some great gymnasts out of the program.
And you can see that they just have to really pull hard all the way around, get the heels over, push hard, get the chest up and over, and the legs under them on the landing. That's an excellent attempt.
Well, Trudy McIntosh, a 9.075. What a talent she is for future years. As we go back to the beam, Kristen Maloney. And this should be something to watch. Kristen was a member of their World Championship team, and she was a finalist in the World Championships on the beam.
Opens very solidly with a front salto. Full turning wolf jump, straight into another wolf jump, Corbett full. Fantastic combination work there. Very, very hard to keep moving smoothly. Change leg leap. With the new judging rules, all of the combinations are becoming so important to try and build that score up to 10. Flip, layout, solid as a rock. Good crowd here tonight. Straddle jump 3/4. The side landings are really difficult to do without wobbling. Of course, the centre of gravity just has a small margin of error. Wolf jump, half turn, straddle jump. Very solid on this routine and showing nice change in pace and rhythm with the choreography. Flick, flick, double tuck, one step backwards. Very, very good beam routine overall.
Great routine from Kristen Maloney. She looked rock solid. She really looked like she was never going to make a mistake. That is why she is one of the best in the world on this piece of apparatus. We take a look at her start here.
Mounting with a pike front salto. Interesting to see the feet here. It's a Corbett full twist. And 2 flips. Building speed takes it right up in the air. Double tuck and about a 0.15 on the landing, I should imagine.
Well, Kristen Maloney looking like she'll put the pressure on Vanessa Adelaide, and she's done just that. A brilliant way to open, a 9.575. That puts her into the lead in the overall competition. This is our first look at the Australian men in round 2. They've moved to the pommel horse and Justin Ning.
Ruston starting very smoothly. He has a nice clean swing. Very, very good work on that one pommel handle. Now he's moving along, using all parts of the horse, as they must do. This is the danger part of the routine. Just over halfway through.
You can see the strain on his face as he attempts to complete the routine cleanly.
Very good routine for the youngster.
These competitions, really great experience for these young competitors.
Here you can see him moving along the horse, using the handles, both ends and the middle of the horse. Of course, when their hands are on the end of the horse, they have to clear those pommel handles, making it so much harder to swing. Compulsory scissors elements. And pushing up to handstand, pressing up slightly. It should be more of a swing, but nevertheless, very good dismount.
Well, Justin's happy with it, and so he should be. A big improvement on his floor routine score, a 9.0. Now, this is the man we've been waiting to see, Rustem Sharapov. Didn't compete on the floor, just a few minor nagging injuries, but this should be something special.
A moment of concentration before he begins. Very strong swing. You can see the experience, just that confidence that world-class gymnasts have. Amplitude much nicer on his scissors. Up to handstand pirouettes round, makes it look easy. And that's the first routine that Sharapov has done in the Australian uniform.
And a great routine it was too, as we take a look in replay of some of his moves.
Rustem just come back from 2 World Cup competitions in Europe, so he's really in good form. Nice body line as he swings around, right up to handstand, pirouettes around.
Very smooth. He is a class competitor, Rustem Sharapov, a 9.1, and that will certainly help this Australian men's team. As we take a look at the standings after the second rotation, the United States still leads, but the gap has narrowed slightly, 51.85 to Australia's 49.84. And the women, after the first rotation, the USA again leading, 27 points to Australia, 26.775. So a very close competition. Stay with us, more after the break. Welcome back to the Fox Sports Challenge as we pick up the action with the women's floor. This is the USA's Jamie Dancher. Our first look at this competitor, just 15 years of age, from California. One of 7 children, all athletes, and 4 of them involved in gymnastics. So Jamie leading the way for the family.
Starts with a nice tuck jump double turn. First row, double Arabian, beautifully performed. This routine choreographed by Beth Rybacki. She was in the 1980 Women's Olympic team, which actually didn't go to the Olympic Games. But she's a very good choreographer, gets plenty of action into the floor. And there's a nice combination, 1.5 twisting back into a 1.5 twisting forward salto.
Showing a nice change in tempo midway through the routine, just taking a little breather before the finale.
Runs strongly into the last pass. Triple twist to finish. And she looks a bit relieved at the end of that routine.
Very difficult routine for Jamie Dancher. And these American girls under a bit of a pressure from the Australians, so really need strong performances all the way through.
And here's this double Arabian. It's a half turn into a double front salto. It's an E element, the most difficult that you can get. And this is the 1.5 twisting back handspring, 1.5 twisting forward. She picks up valuable bonus points there. And into the last line, 3 twists, finishes it pretty clean, just a tiny bit short on the twist, but overall a great routine.
And a great score for Dancher, a 9.3. Gets the Americans off to a great start. Well, the pressure now on Brooke Walker. The Australians on the uneven bars.
And Brooke with a brand new routine here. Many difficult skills in combination. So she opens here, toe on, toe off, full twist, straight into a nice piked Delchev. Second half of the routine extremely difficult in the combination, so she goes giant, toe on, toe off with a half turn this time, front giant, full turn, straight into a double front dismount. What a great routine.
Great work from Brooke Walker. Congratulations from her coach, Mark Carlton. She and Trudy both training at the Victorian Institute of Sport.
And here's that nice high piked Delchev. Back up to handstand, transfers to the low bar. And there's her dismount, double front, steps to the side slightly, but overall a nice clean routine.
And good scoring for Brooke Walker, 9.275. These young competitors showing great maturity under pressure of an international competition. Well, Kristen Maloney now, the top scorer in the first rotation, moves onto the floor. Can she keep up the standard?
Maloney coached by Bill and Donna Strauss in Pennsylvania. They've been coaching for 35 years and they've had so many girls on the national team. First tumbling line, double layout, beautifully done. She's a very strong tumbler, and yet she still manages to show a lot of quality in her dance work.
And that's a nice 3-leap combination there from Kristen. She will pick up bonus points for that.
Whip, double pike. Popular combination for the girls these days. That earns them a 0.2 bonus connection, and that's what it's all about, because the start score, if they've got all their main difficulty, is just 9. They've got to earn back 1 full point in bonus connections and extra difficulty to have a start score of 10. Whip, 2.5 twist, layout front salto. This girl's got everything in her routine. Seen 3 tumbling passes already, all with extremely high difficulty. She'll be quite tired by now. Maximum effort for the last line. And a triple twist. That's a great routine for her. A lot of variety, both in the tumbling and in the dance work.
And Kristen Maloney really hasn't put her foot wrong so far, and she's really going to challenge for this all-round title as well.
And here we have a look at that beautiful double layout. Rises into the second salto. Whip, 2.5 twist, layout front. That requires a lot of coordination to go with that combination. And the last line, triple twist, just about square on the landing. That's the only real deduction I've seen in that routine.
Well, Maloney really impressing the judges here tonight. A 9.550 on the floor. Back to the uneven bars and our first look at Rebecca Wilson, one of the most experienced competitors of the Australian team, and this is her specialty event.
She's opening with pirouette work, 1.5 pirouette. Oh, clips her feet on the low bar twice there. She manages to still stay on, but picks up an extra swing after that Jaeger salto, so big deduction there. Front giant half turn. Nice cleaned Kachev. Counter swing to the low bar. Wilson's got such lovely clean lines on bars, and finishing with a double front, sticks it beautifully. That's a shame about the first half of the routine.
Well, uncharacteristic mistakes there from Wilson. As we said, it is her specialty event. And really, normally very, very consistent.
Yes, this 1.5 pirouette's quite difficult to judge, because if you get too much speed, it's very hard to control. And although we can't see it from that angle, she did clip her feet on the low bar. There's that Tkachev, takes it back to counter swing up to handstand on the low bar. Picks up a 0.1 bonus for that. And here we see her swinging, forward swing, nice extension over the low bar, kicks it well above the height of the high bar, and perfect landing.
Well, one major error, and it's proved costly for Rebecca Wilson, an 8.350. Now Jamie Nashley on the horizontal bar. This is one of his specialty events, his favourite piece of apparatus. 14th all around in this year's American National Championships.
And he opens with some quite tricky combination work there. Winding up for a release here. Kachev again, straight into a ginger. Nice combinations. Coach is standing by, but doesn't need to do anything to help him at all. Nice crisp routine here, and finishing with a double layout, full twist, confident routine.
Yes, very nice work from Jamie Nashley there. The crowd like it as well.
Here we see him winding up, straddle to Kachev, second straddle to Kachev, and straight into his ginger. Judges it well. The men, of course, can perform the same element twice without deduction. The women are not able to do that, the rules being slightly different for each. There's the L grip giant, hops out of it to top grip now. Winds up for the dismount, kicks it up nice and high, slightly piked in the hips during that twist, but nevertheless a good position.
And good routine for Nashley, an 8.750. And now his teammate Jim Foodie. Foodie at 23 is the veteran of this US team. He's just graduated from UCLA, majoring in political science, but managing also to keep up an international gymnastics career.
Yes, he just missed out on being on the World Championship team. He was first reserve. Here we go. Here's Ginger. One arm giant. Stoops in and out. That's a stoop endo circle. Quite popular these days because it can lead to other elements to build those important combinations. Double out, full twist, just like his teammate. A little bit low, but a smooth enough routine.
Yes, well, that's experience for you. The high bar, of course, one of the most spectacular events, and this is why.
Bit close on that release. Manages to hide it. There's that one-arm giant. And these days, the most popular dismount being the double layout with either full or double twist. Seems to be almost a compulsory element.
Well, consistent work from the US men's team on the high bar, an 8.7 for Foodie. And now Philippe Rizzo representing Australia on the rings. At 16, along with Justin Ning, he's the youngest member of this Australian side.
Rings is a very difficult event for young men. They need to build quite a lot of muscle bulk to be successful on this apparatus. Rizzo having shown huge improvements over the last year. Small swing built up. He's controlling it well. Has to time exactly when he wants to start the next element so that that swing doesn't build anymore. So Rizzo gets through the routine. No major strength elements in that routine. And I'm sure that's going to come with more maturity.
Yes, these young Australian competitors working pretty well here tonight.
Coach Vladimir Vatkin looking on.
And Rizzo picks up an 8.250 on the rings. And now Sharapov on the rings. He first came out to Australia in 1994 for the World Championships in Brisbane. He fell in love with this country, and that's why he's back here now in the Australian colours.
Opens with a swing to handstand. Forward giant through to inverted cross. That's difficult to do. Another one. Have to hold for 2 seconds, and the shoulders have to be level with the rings. Doesn't hold his strength element there quite long enough. Needs to be 2 full seconds. And dismounting with a triple back. Now we very, very rarely see the triple back off any apparatus anymore, and Sharapov really is very good at that element.
Yes, he really is a class above the rest of the field here in Adelaide.
And here you can see that inverted cross. Now this element there, planche not held long enough, so he'll be severely penalised for that. He won't get the value of the element. There we see that triple back, well landed, very hard with the orientation.
And a score for Sharapov, 8.5. I don't think he'll be particularly happy with that, but it does help the Australian standings. After the third rotation, the USA still leads 78 points to Australia's 74.59. And the women, again, the USA in front, 55.05, and the Australians falling off the pace a little bit here, 53.60. The Americans move to the floor, and Freddie Umali, who was out for most of 1996 with a torn Achilles tendon, so if any apparatus is going to show a weakness, it probably will be here on the floor.
Umali opens with a front full twist followed by a front layout. It's almost compulsory these days that these men open with these twisting passes, but they're worth so much in bonus points. 1.5 twist forwards. And that's a very difficult element there. One circle around. Both legs together. Becoming more and more popular with the men these days. Wide arm press to handstand. We can see that bandage on his foot. That must have been there to protect from that Achilles injury. And he's really choosing most of his elements coming from the forward twisting elements. And that's not surprising, because when they punch from a backwards position, that puts quite a lot of pressure on the Achilles tendon. Whip, double twist, sticks it well, not very high in the air, but he's obviously pleased with that effort.
Yes, Umali's been having pretty good competition so far tonight. Congratulations from his teammate and coaches.
So here's the handspring, 1.5 twist forwards. Nice extension, that half-turn little connecting element. And here are these circles. Legs together. Has to be careful not to scrape his feet on the floor. And another 1.5 twist forwards.
And the score for Umali, 8.550, and that really does keep him in contention also in the all-around competition. Jamie Natalie now on the floor. Impressive on the high bar just a few moments ago.
Running fast for his first line. Double layout salto. A bit low on the landing and a jump forwards. The gymnast, of course, has to balance difficulty with execution. Layout front, layout. Well, I think that was supposed to be a 1.5 twist forward, so he not only didn't complete the twist, but had a large step sideways going outside of the floor. So that line very, very costly. Press through to handstand, drags his feet on the floor as he goes through. So there's a few errors coming through now here for Natalie. One and a half twist. Once again, not quite completing the twist. Coach looking on intently in the background. And finishing with a double salto, full twist.
And it looks like he's stepped out of the floor area again at the end there. It also looks like he's hit his ankle a little, Liz.
Yes, I think he just landed a bit short on one of those tumbles. Puts a lot of pressure on the front joint of the ankle. He's a good tumbler. A nice double layout. Could have punched the floor a little bit stronger to take him up in the air, but it's a difficult skill. And that's that 1.5 twist forwards, a little bit short. Have to finish those twists very cleanly. And there's his double salto, full twist. Once again, most of his landings are a little bit short.
And a score of just 8.0 for the 18-year-old from Ohio. And now Philippe Rizzo on the vault. Great gymnastics family, this one. His brother Blaise was a former member of the Australian national team. His father Andre, a coach.
And handspring front pike performed very well. Very few deductions for that particular vault. Good run, gets his heels right over, extends off the horse, judges the landing perfectly. Looking for a nice extension, and he's got a nice clean push from the horse.
So good work from Rizzo on the vault, 8.60. Jim Foodie now on the floor.
From the USA, Jim Foodie.
The American's not having such a good floor rotation so far. So he's going to have to do very well in order to keep the lead here with the Americans ahead of the Australians. Full twist forwards, layout front, so that's a good combination to open with. And a few steps backwards and both feet outside of the floor area. Same deduction, it just doesn't look all that good. Being a bit shaky in that high V sit. That's his balance for his routine. No longer do they have to actually show a balance on one foot. They can show a balance in a handstand position instead. He looks tentative, really. Last line here, double back tuck, legs wide apart. That's a big deduction, hopping off to one side. So although no major errors, lots of little things within that the routine that the judges will be taking deductions for.
Yes, the cracks just starting to appear in this American men's team, which really could open the door for the Australians.
He looks like he's just protecting that foot. It is bandaged. And here's the last line, double salto in a tuck, knees wide apart, which is not really acceptable at this level.
Yes, and heavily penalised Jim Foodie, an 8.150. Back to the vault, and Adrian Looney, second on this piece of apparatus in the Junior National Championships. The only member of this Australian men's team not to train at the Australian Institute of Sport. He trains in Brisbane.
Yes, and attempting a full twisting vault there. A little bit late on the twist itself. And not having enough time to really complete it before he lands properly. Delays the twist, quite low on the landing, and jumps off to one side. Nice straight body throughout, but needs a little bit more height from the horse.
But still quite a good score for Looney, an 8.95 on the vault. Back to the floor. Well, the US men's team haven't been performing too well on this apparatus. What can Mike Dutka do?
Very difficult for the men to build their start score up to 10. Need a lot of combination work. Layout front, layout full, 1.5. It's a good combination. Makes an error at the end of the 1.5, having to jump forwards quite a bit. Whip, 1.5 twist back, full twist forwards, and once again using that combination work very cleverly. And a press to handstand, a bit closed in that planche position. Need to have the hips fully extended. Yes, he's choosing good elements here, but he's not really technically performing them perfectly each time. So the bonus points that he's picking up on the elements themselves, he's losing on the execution, and once again outside of the floor. So each of those rows has some technical problem. In theory, his start score's quite high, but in practice it's not. So there's that layout front, full twist forward, 1.5 twist, but low on the landing, a big leap forwards. Double salto, full twist, squatting heavily on the landing, large step backwards and out of the floor.
Well, despite the errors, Dutka picks up an 8.6. That is the highest score we've seen on the floor, and it helps the United States cause. They lead Australia by almost 3 full points, 103.3 to Australia's 100.69. Stay with us. More gymnastics after the break. Welcome back to the Fox Sports Challenge. This is Trudy McIntosh, the young Australian performing on the beam. This is really one of her pet events, third in the Canberra Cup International last year.
Opens very cleanly with a front salto connected to a jump. Nice combination, change leg leap to change leg side leap. Trudy's very smooth on all of her landings. Concentrating hard prior to her series. Flip, flip, beautifully high layout salto, and what a steady performance she's giving us here. Move close to the beam, just a little backwards roll. around the beam. Straddle jump half turn. Once again, those side landings are very difficult to control. But if they do it well, they pick up plenty of points. It's a D element. Front summy. Connects it into the jump. You can see a slight hesitation, but she'll still be awarded those valuable connection points. This is a very steady routine. Double tuck. Sticks the landing. Now that's a fantastic routine from McIntosh. And Coach Peggy Ledick is extremely happy with her.
She's won over the crowd as well here in Adelaide, young Trudy.
Here's a different view. Pushes off strongly. Perfect landing. Here's this front summy. Swings the arm round but keeps the body moving. And the dismount punches it nice and high. Tiny little shuffle on the landing, maybe a 0.05 deduction.
Look at that score though, 9.6. Hard to believe she's only 13 years of age. What a star she's going to be for Australia in years to come. Well, from one of the youngest to the most experienced, Rebecca Wilson. Few problems on the bars. Let's see if she can regroup on the beam.
And she uses the same mount as McIntosh. Front summy into a jump connection. Wilson's a very elegant gymnast. Quite a long pause before the series. Flip, layout, solid. Wilson actually shows very difficult dance combinations. That's a tuck jump full turn, and she has a big bobble on that, and it's a shame because it's a D element. She normally connects it to a little jump in there. Change leg leap, wolf jump half turn, wolf jump. 0.5 in bonus connections for that series, so some of the difficult dance elements scoring very highly. Double turn. It's a risky element. Coming up for her dismount, round off, 2.5 twist. So a clean routine from Wilson. Misses a couple of her connections in there, but nevertheless a very, very steady routine. Here's the series. Flip, layout, pulls up strongly. Watch this double turn. Very hard to keep the centre of the body right on top of the beam. In fact, she almost does a 2.5. And choosing twisting element, which is nice to see some variety in the dismounts.
So good work from the Australians on the beam. One of the most difficult pieces of apparatus. A 9.125 for Rebecca Wilson. Our first look now at Lindsay Wing of the United States, 15 years of age, trains in Texas.
Wing is rather a taller gymnast, but she really handles it well. She's quite strong. Yushchenko, 1.5 twist in tuck position, over rotates it unfortunately.
Well, there's really not much separating the Australian and the US women's teams, so the pressure on here.
And here we are, a little bit low on the contact in the horse. She pulls it around, really can't judge where she's at. She should be fully extended where she hits with her hands. You can see a close of the shoulder angle, and just keeps rotating too hard, the extra forward roll. So that's at least a 0.5 on the landing, plus the execution errors. Second vault, layout 1.5 twist, better performed, higher start score. Once again, lacking some elevation from the horse, and she's having to adjust to body positions in the post-flight to compensate. So she's closed in the shoulders there, not enough height, and too little rotation on that particular vault. Let's watch this contact position again. Closed. piked body and has to tuck around to complete the vault to her feet.
Well, where the Australians are performing well on the beam, the USA struggling a little on the vault, a 9.037. The men's US team, Freddie Umali on the pommel horse.
And on pommel horse, representing the United States, Freddie Umali.
Third in the Junior Pacific Alliance just recently on this piece of apparatus.
Opening confidently. Very little margin for error on this apparatus. Nice flares work, travelling along the horse, taking his flares up to handstand, pirouetting round and through to his dismount off the end of the horse, which is rather unusual to see.
Well, a clean routine from Umali, and that's what counts here. Consistency in the team event is what they're looking for.
And he's keeping the swing going well. Good extension here. Breaks back into flares. Travelling along the horse. Nice separation of the legs there. Pirouettes around. Parking down a little bit on the landing, but good routine.
And a fairly good score for Freddie Umali at an 8.5. This is Lisa Skinner of Australia on the beam. Our first look at her. 16 years of age and one of our top performers over the last few years. 29th in this year's World Championships, and a problem there at the beginning.
Yes, normally connects that to a jump, so that's quite a big deduction, 0.2, 0.3 on that wobble. Nice change leg leap. Wolf jump, half turn, wolf jump. She looks a little bit tentative. Skinner showing very elegant choreography. And this is a new series coming up for her. Flip, lay out and connects it to another flip. She does it well. Such a nerve-wracking piece of apparatus for them to compete. There's really no room for holding back here. They have to be really positive and strong with everything that they're doing, and any hesitation is going to cause problems for them. This is a nice little element. Valdez sideways, a little bit individual. You can see the concentration in preparation for the dismount now. Very important part of the routine. Round off, double salto, up. She's missed the landing. I really thought she had that then.
And that's a real shame for Lisa, because otherwise it was a very nice routine.
Here we have another view of that series. There's the flip, layout, and connecting immediately to the second flip. Let's see what happens here. The front salto. Nice changement jump. Here we go, the dismount. She looks like she's got it, but she just sticks her hips backwards and the centre of gravity moves behind her feet. That's a shame for Skinner.
Yes, you can see the disappointment on her face, an 8.75. Kristen Maloney now on the vault. Fantastic beam and floor, and leading the all-around competition.
Looking very focused. Powerful run. Round off. Double twist backwards. 9.9 start score for that vault.
Kristen voted the 1997 Gymnast of the Year and 1997 Sportswoman of the Year by USA Gymnastics.
Pretty good contact with the horse. Needs to perhaps push up a little bit higher. And a small pike in the hips, but those small deductions from a 9.9 start score will still give her a reasonable finishing score. Each vault, of course, having a tariff out of 10. Now she can perform the same vault again if she wishes. Second vault, better than the first. Better in the air than the first, but unfortunately the landing not quite as good. She seems to be a bit in trouble there. Something hurting her perhaps. Let's have a look at the vault itself. A little bit higher, body position better. Seems to twist slightly to one side. You can see that she's going to the left. Limping slightly there.
But still, great scoring for Maloney, a 9.587. On the parallel bars, Adrian Looney. His fifth rotation, just one more remaining after this, so the Australian men's team, if they're going to make a move, have to do it now.
Smooth mount. Moy straight into a pirouette, using the side elements successfully. Once again, those tiny hand shuffles, all valuable 0.05s that they're losing. Double pike dismount. So once again, going through without any major breaks. And it's most important at this time in his career as a junior that he learns to do the program that he has successfully, and then he can build on and add his start score and hopefully be a contributor to the next World Championship team. There's that back toss to handstand, double pike, little low, and forcing him to jump out to the side.
And Adrian Looney has been very consistent here in Adelaide, an 8.750. Back to the vault, Vanessa Atler. Well, upstaged a little tonight by her teammate Kristen Maloney. Let's see what she can do here.
Atler's the most powerful vaulter. She's just an amazing athletic gymnast. Handspring lay out front. Whoa, she misses the landing. That's a bit of a surprise. That is a very difficult vault to perform. We saw Trudy McIntosh a little bit of a time ago performing that same vault. The margin for error extremely small. Just doesn't quite get her feet underneath. She pulls out of the rotation too early. Looks fine on the horse. First half looks fine, and it's just a bit surprising she doesn't make it all the way around. It's hard to pick at what point she actually loses it. Just in here, needs to pull the chest up a bit stronger. It's a 9.9 start score, however.
So just refocusing now for her second attempt.
Once again, she can choose the same vault or a different one if she cares to, but a 9.9 start score is a very good score to go with. But she chooses a Yushchenko double twist, and wow, what a powerful vault that was. Performed as if it's just second nature to her. And that's very interesting to see, choosing two different vaults. This vault also has a 9.9 start score. Look at the confidence on that. Delays the twist, wraps it very nicely. Contacts nice and strongly with the horse, pushes it up in the air, completes the double twist, and perhaps just a 0.15 on the landing.
Well, Vanessa Atler struggling on her first vault, but a good score nonetheless, a 9.412. Back to the pommels, Mike Dutke. At 19. We expect a lot from Dutke, but he is a relative newcomer to the senior men's team. I'm sure he'll be a core member in the lead up to Sydney 2000.
So opening there with very difficult combinations on that one pommel handle, picking up the pace a little bit here, looking confident. Oh, and he's messed it up. That's a shame, because that routine was really swinging nicely. And that's a real danger part of the routine. It's quite often we see a gymnast lose it about 2/3 the way through the routine. Their arms start to get a little bit tired. The rhythm can go a little bit, and before you know it, they're off the side.
And Dutke just taking his time here. to refocus, concentrate on the remainder of the routine. Very important. He picks it up cleanly and finishes it off well.
Good amplitude on those scissors. Yep. Well, a disappointing routine for him, but it had a lot of difficulty, a high start score. So that's why these gymnasts like to have these international competitions regularly. They don't take any of their competitive skills for granted, because it's a skill all in itself. Flares, taking it through a little bit low through the handstand at the very end, doesn't take it right up through vertical, just comes down a little bit too early.
Well, disappointing for Dutka, but a 9 despite the fall. That high start score helping him out there. As we go back to the parallel bars, and Rustam Sharapov, there's one routine we've been waiting to see tonight. It's this one. He is the Olympic champion, the 1996 world champion, and the 1996 European champion on this piece of apparatus.
Built perfectly for parallel bars, choosing a side mount. Look at that nice high V position. Just looks very solid. That's a nice combination there through to a double front. Tiny bobble, that's uncharacteristic of Rustam. Diamondov to one bar, pirouettes back. Just a little bit out on his rhythm in that part. Clean double pike. Look at that stick. That's experience for you.
Well, Rustam likes it. The crowd likes it. His teammate like it. Well, the judges like it. That is a class performance.
And there's that Healy turn through to double front. Diamondov. Double pike, sets it up nicely. He just knows perfectly where he is.
And a 9.3 for Sharapov on the parallel bars. So after 5 rotations with 1 remaining, the United States still lead 129 to Australia's 127.14. The women also have just 1 rotation remaining, and the Americans lead again by about 2 points, 83.099 to Australia's 81.20. Well, Kristen Maloney, she has been so consistent over 3 pieces of apparatus. 1 remains, and this probably for the all-around title.
Toe on, toe off through to release to the high bar. Very nice combination. Healy turn. Half turn out of the second Healy turn. Straight into a ginger. Looking really confident. Underswing to the low bar. Very interesting combinations here. The Americans are good at that. And finishing with a back in full out dismount. Well, 4 for 4 for Maloney.
Yes, that should be enough for the individual gold medal. It really has been her night here in Adelaide this evening.
There's that ginger. Down to the low bar here, underswing to handstand, toe on, cut, catch to the high bar. Building up speed here, takes it right over the top of the bar to build. Twist in the first salto, and a good landing.
And the score, a 9.4, and she's going to be very hard to beat from here. Well, the Australians finishing this evening on the floor. Rebecca Wilson, 2nd in the national championships this year on this piece of apparatus.
Opening the routine with a triple turn. First tumbling line, whip, 2.5 twist, unfortunately outside of the floor area, and of course the steps leading into that, extra deductions. Full twist forwards, front salto.
Well, we saw on the beam, Rebecca, a very elegant worker, and that coming through in her dance on the floor as well.
That's the compulsory gymnastics series. They all have to have a series of 3 gymnastic elements in a row. Fourth tumbling line coming up. Concentrating hard. And a triple twist to finish. Once again going outside, only just by a fraction, but nevertheless, the judges will see that. So a relatively good routine from Wilson, but marred by those 2 out of bounds. Here we see whip 2.5, just travelling too much, and she's got a lot of rotation at the end of it. Full twist forwards, punch front, picks up a 0.1 bonus. Last tumbling line takes that twist way up into the air, a little bit short on the twist itself.
And a smile from Rebecca Wilson. She finishes the night with an 8.650. Back to the bars and Vanessa Adler. It's unlikely that she's going to catch Krista Maloney in the all-round, but she'll be looking for a strong finish to this competition. It hasn't quite been her night this evening.
Starts with an upright to handstand, half turn. Giant 1.5. Straight to Tkachev. That's quite confident. No coach standing in place for that release. What they call pack salto down to the low bar. Very good swing. Double layout, full twist to finish. And she just makes it look so easy. Once again, she's very good at that twisting, as she's shown on vault already. Pack salto, transfers down to the low bar, half pirouette, toe on, cut, catch the high bar. The American girls are using that quite effectively. And from another angle we can see that. And watch this dismount. Kicks it up, full twist in stretch position. Outstanding.
That is more like it from Vanessa Adler, a 9.4, and a nice way to finish off the night.
On floor, representing
Back to the floor, Lisa Skinner. This is a new routine for Lisa. First performed internationally at the World Championships in September.
First tumbling, 2.5 twist punch front, way too long. It's an interesting little choreographic move there. Lisa's got very good work with her middle body. And always very clean in her connecting movements. Second line, full twist forwards, punch front in a pike position. tumbling line coming up. Round off flip. Double pike, that's new for her. She performs it well. And what a lovely finishing position for Lisa.
Well, that was a strong routine from Lisa. You just get the feeling that the Australian girls' floors lack the sparkle of the USA. They don't quite sell it to the judges the same way as the girls from America do.
Yes, that's certainly something that they need to pick up on. Unfortunately, this first tumbling line, she takes it really long and lands right outside of the floor area itself. Full twist forwards, punch front. Yes, in general, I would agree with that on the choreography. They need to make it a little bit more complex, faster movements. And finishing here very nicely with a double pike.
And Lisa Skinner picks up an 8.650.
On horizontal bar.
The Australian men's team are finishing on the horizontal bar. Philippe Rizzo.
Philippe, of course, an expert on the high bar for such a young man. He really is a good worker. 1.5 twisting Ginger. That's just a lovely movement, and he does it so easily. And a second one. Looks like he can do it without even practicing. So nicely done. Stoop into L grip. Giants showing nice extension through the shoulders. Dismounting, double twisting, double salto. And he's really going to become a world-class competitor on this apparatus. Very natural feel for the high bar. Top grip endo, half turn out. Straight into that 1.5 twisting Ginger. Sometimes it's called deaf salto because it's named after the person who first performed it. Double twisting, double layout.
Well, brilliant work from the 16-year-old. Rizzo picks up a 9.350. That's the highest score we've seen on the horizontal bar. Now, the Americans are finishing on the rings. Mike Dupke vaulted on the pommel horse. Needs to finish strongly, remembering the Americans lead the Australians in the team, but only by 2 points, so the pressure's still on.
Opening with a nice Maltese cross and straight into a second one. That's so hard to do. And an inverted cross. His shoulders need to come down level with the ring, so needs a little bit more on that. Controlling the rings relatively well. Gazorki and full twisting double salto. Looks a little bit out of control in the second half of that routine, just perhaps rushing a bit. It hasn't really been his night.
Yes, looking a little shaky through a lot of those moves.
There's that Maltese cross. He does that so well and swings forward straight into a second one. Needs to hold it for 2 full seconds, so a touch short on the second one. And there's the Gazorki. It's like a double back, holding onto the rings and into his double salto full twist.
So an 8.1 for Dutke, which could just let the Australians back into this competition.
Representing Australia.
On the floor now, Trudy McIntosh. She's had a terrific night. Let's see if she can finish strongly here on the floor.
Trudy's a very strong tumbler, moves quickly. And first line, very nicely done. Double salto, full twist. Second line, whip, immediate double pike. A couple of steps forwards on the landing, but good to see the difficulty coming through with the Australian girls now. Choosing some music that the crowd can get into and just adding to the general effect on the judges. It's 1.5 twist back, immediate punch front. time she'll develop more maturity with her dance, but the most important thing for these young Australian girls is actually to get the difficulty level up in their routines, finishing with a double tuck. Good, clean routine for McIntosh.
Well, she's the youngest and she's the smallest here tonight, but she's really been such a crowd pleaser. Trudy McIntosh, such a great talent.
Here we look at that nice first line, sets it up, nice phases with the twists, strong landing. And 1.5 twist backwards, immediate punch front. And finishing with a double salto in tuck position.
Well done, Trudy McIntosh. An 8.825 on the floor. Back to the horizontal bar and Rustam Sharapov.
Rustam Sharapov.
Again, a very strong competitor on this piece of apparatus. The 1995 European Cup champion.
Stoop in, true to top grip. He's winding up here now for his release, having been a little trouble in training. Catches it well, nevertheless. Looks like he could have missed a connection in there. I'm not entirely sure, but it didn't look exactly right in the composition. And once again, choosing the triple back. Very rarely seen with that element at world or Olympic level. Even the top performers around the world are not choosing to use that, but he really is an expert at it. He's pleased he's finished. Here we are, takes that over the bar, spots the bar before he catches it. Swings straight forwards. Let's watch this triple. 1, 2, wraps the third in, plenty of time to spare.
Oh, spectacular way to finish for Rustam Sharapov, but not the score he would have wanted. An 8.4. On the rings now, Jim Foodie.
Of course, remembering that just 3 scores out of the 4 for each team on each apparatus count. The best 3 scores. And across for Foodie as his major strength element there. Giant. Second forwards giant. And there's 2 Gazorkis in a row, so he's picking up bonus for there. Full twisting double back dismount, so not much in the strength department. Good connections with that pair of Gazorkis, but the start score not going to be particularly high for him. Control of the rings and smoothly connecting those 2 together and into his dismount. Tuck double back with a full twist.
Well, Jim Foodie, the final competitor of the evening, earns an 8.4 as we take a look at the final results. And what an upset in the men's competition. The United States led all the way through, but pipped at the post by Australia, 153.84 to 153.50. Nothing in it. In the women's competition, the United States were the dominant force, 110.999 to Australia's 107.60. And in the individual, Krista Maloney, well, she was in a class of her own tonight. Vanessa Adler of the USA second, Lindsay Wing making it the USA 1, 2 and 3, and Trudy McIntosh, a brilliant performance to pick up 4th. And in the men, well, what a great night for Australia. Adrian Looney wins, Freddie Umali second, Mike Dutka third. And that concludes our coverage of this Fox Sports Challenge. We hope you've enjoyed it. And remember, Fox Sports is the place you'll see all the best gymnastics action. Until next time, I'm Anne-Marie Kerr. Bye for now.
Charlie, a Fox Sports production.